Snake. Why are we still here? Just to suffer. Every night, I can feel my leg and my arm, even my fingers. The body I've lost, the comrades I've lost, won't stop hurting. It's like they're all still there. You feel it too, don't you? I'm the one who got caught up with Cypher. A group above nations, even the US. And I was the parasite below, feeding off Zero's power. They came after you in Cyprus. Then Afghanistan. Cypher just keeps growing. Swallowing everything in its path. Getting bigger and bigger. Who knows how big now? Boss. I'm gonna make him give back our past. Take back everything that we've lost. And I won't rest until we do.
Approaching Mother Base.
Our new Mother Base. I don't know how long it'll take, but I'll make it bigger, better than before.
Gosh, what should I do?
Boss,
Tell me. Tell me like you used to.
things have changed, boss. We pull in money, recruits, just to combat Cypher. Rubbing our noses in bloody battlefield dirt. All for revenge. The world calls for wet work, and we answer. No greater good. No just cause.
Cause?
Cypher sent us to hell. But we're going even deeper.
I know. I'm already a demon. Heaven's not my kind of place anyway.
Dogs of war for 9 whole years. That ends today. Now you're not sleeping, and we're not junkyard hounds. We're diamond dogs.
Let them talk.
We can crush Cypher, boss. And you can build the army that can do it.
Just one thing, Kaz. This isn't about the past. We're fighting for the future.
Boss, there's something I want to talk about. It concerns the running of Mother Base. Come meet with me. You came. This base belongs to you now. Make Diamond Dogs the force it deserves. Like any organization, we need good people, and we need to make good use of their talents. Miller asked me to lay that out to him. To start bringing people in, use this. It's a Fulton recovery device. When you're in the field, use it to extract any soldiers or prisoners you want back here. And we'll see if we can't persuade them to join the ranks of Diamond Dogs. Go on. Test it out on the staff here. Anyone you want. First, put them to sleep. You have a tranquilizer gun, don't you?
I'm ready, boss.
Out like a light. Now approach him and extract him. Good. Extraction complete. You can only Fulton recover someone if they're not resisting it. No dead bodies either. They don't make great recruits. The staff member you just extracted will be assigned to the team best suited to his abilities. See for yourself. Open your eye droid.
Boss! Boss!
Select staff management from... So that staff member was placed on the R&D team. The R&D team is in charge of developing all kinds of weapons and items that will support you on missions. Take a look at the development list. Select weapons items under the development heading. What's wrong? Select weapons items under the development heading. That's the R&D team's development list. See the item called cardboard box? Didn't seem much use to me, but Miller was adamant that you'd want it on the list. The last word in infiltration technology, or so he said. In any case, we don't have the manpower to develop it just yet. We need more staff on the team. Go extract a few more people. You can also Fulton extract individuals you've knocked out. Why don't you try knocking someone out with CQC next? Show them how it's done, boss. Try throwing them. Excellent, boss. Now extract them. Good. Extraction complete. One thing I should mention. A Fulton extraction won't always be successful. If the person is injured, the shock of it could kill them. And if the weather's unfavorable, well, it could end up going missing. You can determine the chance of success by approaching the person you want to extract. If you want to be sure you can get them out, best carry them to the chopper instead. Boss, now that we have more people on the R&D team, its level has gone up. They should be able to develop the cardboard box now. Oh, select weapons items under the development heading. Now select cardboard box and start development. Just be aware that development requires funds. GMP. Watch we don't end up in the red. Development has finished. You can have the support unit supply you with weapons and items you've developed. Think of it as your own personal delivery service.
Boss!
And there it is. Not sure what it's good for, but Miller said you know what to do. Try it out. One last thing. The staff members you extracted were all placed on the R&D team, but that was Miller's decision. If you think they belong somewhere else, you're free to move them around. Well, that about does it. You won't make any GMP or find recruits hanging around here. Board the chopper when you're ready for a mission. Open your iDroid and select a landing zone to tell it where to pick you up. Or if you're still in the mood for knocking guys on their asses, you can stay around here a while and give the men some practice. Just come pay me a visit.
Boss!
Boss, let's practice your CQC. Begin by grabbing it.
Pulling punches.
This isn't like you, Snake. Try it one more time. Once you've grabbed someone, you're free to do as you like. Interrogate him, knock him out, kill him. Scratch that last one for now. Go ahead and knock him out. Good. Go on and extract him. Now for fist fighting. Strike an adversary repeatedly to knock him out. He'll stay unconscious for longer than if you throw him. Go for them, not me.
Let's do this, boss!
Extract the staff member. Starting to feel like yourself again? The rest will fall into place with some time in the field. Go ahead and call the chopper from your eye drawer.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. On station.
I know you haven't been back long, but I prepared a list of missions for you. Open your iDroid.
You were hospitalized in Dikelia, a British sovereign base area on Cyprus. It's part of British overseas territory that falls outside of Cypriot jurisdiction. You got moved from Cuba's Little America right into Cyprus as Little Britain. Why Dikelia? The UK and the US remain close allies. The last place Cypher would think to look for you is inside their own system. That's what kept you safe in British military hospital for 9 years. The safest place from a whale is...
I've taken the job offers Diamond Dogs has received and made a list of those I want you to consider. Which ones you accept is your call. The objectives of the missions I've added are prisoner rescue, facility sabotage, and high-value target elimination.
You dead.
Probably all a walk in the park for you, but they should help you get back on your feet. I put the mission details on a cassette tape. Refer to it if you decide to accept the mission. We'll receive GMP for completing missions, and extracting soldiers and prisoners will boost our ranks. Building up Mother Base is the first step to achieving our goal. If that means wet work, so be it. We're gonna have to get our hands dirty. I hope you're rested up, because we're not stopping. Not until the pain is gone. The future of Diamond Dogs is in your hands. We're counting on you, boss.
Part of the buffer zone between the two groups. Another reason it was the perfect place to hide you.
Farming villages in southern Vahan have been subjected to a strategic bombing campaign the past several weeks. The damage is spreading. It's part of the Soviet Scorched Earth operation aimed at wiping out... farming villages in southern Vahan have been subjected to a strategic bombing campaign the past several weeks. The damage is spreading. It's part of the Soviet Scorched Earth operation aimed at wiping out the guerrillas. The target this time is the commander of a Spetsnaz detachment. He's been key to the operation's success. People say this guy's responsible for annihilating the Mujahideen at Tismasi-Laman.
Target is a Spetsnaz detachment commander. Your orders are to take him out. With skills like his, it'd be a shame to waste him. But I'll leave the method up to you. Boss, make your way to Deshago Calais and eliminate the target. Compounds from plants to make medicine or poison for use in new weapons and equipment. Take a look at the plants list on your iDroid to see which ones we need. Then go find them if you get the chance. It'll keep the staff happy too. The wormwood, also known as absinthium, that's used to make your phantom cigars.
Get!
effervescent. It's a type of medicinal plant. We can use that to make tranquilizer rounds more potent. At the objective. Your target should be somewhere in that outpost. And don't forget, he has a Spetsnaz recon detail with him. Keep your guard up. A Soviet soldier. A lot of them came from Central Asia before, but lately they've been using more and more Russians. Simple, really. There's less hesitation to pull the trigger if they're not fighting their own race. Morbid cynicism, but it gets results. That's humanity for you. Commander of a Spetsnaz detachment. Not the kind of guy you want to go up against. That's the target. Take him out.
Farming villages in southern Vahan have been subjected to a strategic bombing campaign the past several weeks. The damage is spreading. It's part of the Soviet Scorched Earth operation aimed at wiping out the guerrillas. The target this time is the commander of a Spetsnaz detachment. He's been key to the operation's success. People say this guy's responsible for annihilating the Mujahideen at Tismasi Laman, the Hamid fighters, overnight. He's a tough, experienced commander. Don't underestimate him. The order from my client in the west is to shoot on sight. They want him out of the picture for good. Sorry, boss. This one's purely business. Wet work. A hit on a commanding officer of the Soviet military. Nothing personal. We're only doing this because it gets us one step closer to our goal.
Intelligence work is all about observation and gathering information. Start by using your binoculars to get a grasp of your surroundings. Those materials have already been processed. It may not be much, but we can use them straight away if you bring them back to base.
Stop! Jump!
Подожди, не стреляй.
Talk.
Я не говорю по-английски.
Where are your friends?
He speaks Russian. What we need is an interpreter. The main principle of intelligence work is intel gathering. But that's a problem if you don't speak the enemy's language. We need a staff member with the interpreter skill to do a simultaneous interpretation. You gotta extract him. Your target is a Spetsnaz detachment commander. Your orders are to take him out. With skills like his, it'd be a shame to waste him. But I'll leave the method up to you. Boss, make your way to Deshago Calais and eliminate the target. a Soviet soldier. A lot of them came from Central Asia before, but lately they've been using more and more Russians. Simple, really. There's less hesitation to pull the trigger if they're not fighting their own race. Morbid cynicism, but it gets results. That's humanity for you. You've arrived at the objective. Your target should be somewhere in that outpost. And don't forget, he has a Spetsnaz recon detail with him. Keep your guard up.
Ходят слухи, что это постарались наши. Так вот.
It's a heavy machine gun. Packs far more power than any rifle. You can either use it yourself or destroy it. Either way, best keep in mind some way to deal with it.
Если сказано, сожги деревню. Мы раздавим душмана.
Commander of a Spetsnaz detachment. Not the kind of guy you want to go up against.
Жителей трогать нельзя. Если среди них будут жертвы, это только подольет масло в огонь.
хочу умирать!
Where are your friends?
He speaks Russian. What we need is an interpreter.
Знаю английский.
The main principle of intelligence work is intel gathering. But that's a problem if you don't speak the enemy's language. We need a staff member with the interpreter skill to do a simultaneous interpretation. He's coming too. Roger that. That's communications equipment used by the outpost CP. It must be how they keep in touch with headquarters. If you destroy it, you might be able to cut off the CP from their HQ. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. morning, too. Roger that. Extract him. Dumpster. Looks big enough to hide somebody. You could stash a downed enemy in there, or hide in it yourself. Just don't stand too close to me afterward. Dawn soon. Your surroundings will be easier to see, but that goes for the enemy as well. The guard detail in Soviet outposts changes in the morning, too. Watch yourself. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Какого? Какого? Что там? Эй, ты в порядке?
Roger that. You gonna extract him? Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Что случилось? Ответьте, Дмитрий-1. У нас проблема. Тревога по всем постам.
Extract him. Coming too. Roger that. You gonna extract him?
Это КП, понял. Не расслабляйтесь. Они еще могут быть рядом. Конец связи.
The enemy's given up their search for you, but they're not giving the all-clear just yet.
Всем боевым группам! Это КП! Боевые посты! Всем подразделениям! По боевым постам!
be a waste to kill him. But putting him to sleep doesn't count as eliminating him. Neither does knocking him out. We sent the target to a place outside of heaven. Boss, your objective's complete. Exfiltrate out of the hot zone by chopper or on land. Don't hang around. Their anti-air radar? It wasn't one of the targets, but that's put a hole in their air surveillance. The chopper will be able to get in close now. You can designate a landing zone near the outpost. That searchlight's manually operated. Out of ammo? Let the support unit help out if you need to restock. Transmit a request from your iDroid and I'll send supplies right away.
Копыта 4. Замечен взрыв. Ущерб неизвестен. Прием. Понял. Возможно, это вражеское нападение. Всем быть начеку. Конец связи.
Subject on board. Roger.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. There's an obstruction at the LZ preventing me from landing. Request immediate removal. Gaining altitude. Departing.
Mission complete. Great work. How you feeling, boss? Getting used to being in the field again? Having choppers and a horse at your disposal is indispensable for operating in the wilds of Afghanistan. I've gone ahead and arranged for you to be able to develop and customize weaponry for support choppers. And you can also develop new equipment for D-Horse if you like. Use your iDroid to start development as needed. Remember the guys you brought back from the base in Cuba 9 years ago? Believe it or not, some of them survived that hell we went through. Word reached them that Big Boss is back and they wanted in. They're good men, our brothers in fate. They'll be glad to know you've seen them here. Boss, I know you haven't been back long, but I've prepared a list of missions for you. Open your iDroid.
Information warfare is more than just intel gathering. It also means disrupting enemy communications. Your mission is to punch a hole in the comms network between the Soviet outposts. That'll cut off their means to call in reinforcements.
Technically, we were given this mission by a Western-backed Arab organization supporting the guerrillas. But it'll also give us a leg up in the future.
Take a look at the location of the Eastern Communications Post on your iDroid. Head there and destroy its comms equipment. He who controls information controls operations. Just look at Cypher. Good luck, boss.
You need to disable the Soviets' reinforcement system by putting a hole in their base-to-base comms network. Head for the... Eastern Communications Post and destroy its comms equipment. First, use the binoculars to locate the communications equipment at the facility. Dog Pop. He's a tough little guy. Boss, this is no time to be playing with animals. What are you gonna do, boss? Roger that. pick him up.
Yeah.
We found out there's an English-speaking soldier somewhere in the region. He's a language specialist. His role is to translate information related to the West into Russian. If we can get him to join us, we'll have the upper hand in information warfare. Find this language specialist and extract him.
Boss, information warfare is more than just intel gathering. It also means disrupting enemy communications. Your mission is to punch a hole in the comms
That's the target.
of Soviet outposts. That'll cut off their means to call in reinforcements. Technically, we were given this mission by a Western-backed Arab organization supporting the guerrillas. But it'll also give us a leg up in the future. Take a look at the location of the Eastern Communications Post on your iDroid. Head there and destroy its comms equipment. He who controls information controls operations. Just look at Cypher. Good luck, boss.
Это было неплохо. Правда? И что это значит? Я думаю, я... О, это действительно полезно. Точно. Эти слова могут спасти твою жизнь. Ха-ха, может быть. В следующий раз ты должен научить меня еще чему-нибудь. Конечно. Увидимся.
That Soviet soldier in the Green Beret is speaking English. Must be a language specialist. With him on our side, we'd be capable of Russian interpretation support. Try and extract him. gonna extract him.
Делай нож.
Talk.
Where are your friends?
Speak.
Those are raw diamonds. Collecting them as assets will raise our GMP. He's coming too. Roger that. The target is there. unpleasant. It's a type of medicinal plant. We can use that to make tranquilizer rounds more potent.
Yeah! Yeah! Whoa! Whoa!
Extract him. You made it. First, use the binoculars to locate the communications equipment at the facility. First, you have to identify the targets. Recon the site with your binoculars. Once you know where the targets are, take them out to put their network out of action. How you do that is up to you. That antenna is one of the targets. There should be more. Keep looking. That's another one of the targets. Do you see any more? Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. He's coming too. Roger that. You gonna extract him?
Давай!
That's an anti-air radar. It isn't one of the targets, but destroying it would shut down part of the enemy's air surveillance and might make more landing zones available. So your suppressor is worn out. That gun will be as loud as any other now. If you have to shoot, be careful. Roger that. You gonna extract him?
Конец связи.
Нет, не делай этого!
Speak. Spit it out.
Where are your friends? Where are the others?
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. That radio transmitter is used to relay messages between outposts. Take it out and the mission's complete. Thinking of using C4? It's an explosive that you detonate by remote control after you've planted it. Alright, now get to a safe distance before you set it off. To detonate it, hold the ready button and then press the action button. Explosives should take care of them well enough. How you do it is up to you. That looks like the target. We know where all the antennas are now. Take out all 3 of them. How you do it is your call. We have the locations of all the targets. Destroy either the radio transmitter or all the antennas to shut down communications between the enemy outposts. It's all up to you, boss. Good work. You've completed your objective. Now get out of the hot zone. Portable toilet. If you're gonna hide inside, watch the enemy doesn't decide to use it. Same goes for hiding downed enemies in it. Roger.
You're up. We're changing ships. We can't go sailing the Suez in a whaler. The Suez Canal. When did they reopen it? Not long after you were attacked. Once they finished sweeping it for mines after their Arab-Israeli conflict. Can you stand? We're gonna transfer to a container ship for passage. There we disembark and head via Peshawar to the Zero Line. Travel to the Khyber Pass by road.
Mission complete. Great work. Our army is growing like crazy thanks to you, boss. In fact, it's getting downright crowded around here. To bring a greater number of people on board, we'll need to expand our facilities. To that end, I've created a base development unit. It has two roles, material refinement and platform construction. I'll start with the material refinement part. The base development unit procures material resources on a regular basis according to its level. The materials are stored in containers and placed on the deck of Mother Base. Once they're finished being processed, they can finally be put to use. By using these materials to build new platforms, we'll be able to add a greater number of staff to our ranks. We don't need any specific instructions from you to refine the materials, but I want you to be the one to decide how we construct platforms. Once we have sufficient GMP and the required material resources, you can issue construction orders from your iDroid. Prolonged time in the field is bad for the body and mind. I think it's time you took a break. Do it for me. Come back to Mother Base ASAP.
Come back!
Mix.
Here's the dog you brought back. Bit of a troublemaker. Not sure about the breed, though.
He'll get bigger?
Uh-huh. Like this. You know, I can look after him. It's still a pup, so he doesn't listen. I have a feeling someday he'll be useful. I suspect you discovered a real diamond in the rough. With a little polish, I'd say we got a true diamond dog on our hands.
DD, right? Hostile at raising hounds. Fine.
Come on, Dee.
In the mountains of Afghanistan. It's a difficult mission, but I'd say you're back in top form by now. Check your iDroid for the details.
Welcome back, boss.
Thank you for letting me join Diamond Dogs. I'll give you everything I've got.
we're going to expand Mother Base, we need more manpower. And not just for combat roles either. R&D, the support unit, intel, each demands a different set of skills. If we want to achieve what we've set out to do, Diamond Dogs has got to get stronger. There's a Soviet engineer I want to have join us. He was the one who built your prosthesis. With him on our side, who knows what sort of enhancements he'll come up with for it. He tried to defect but didn't make it, and now he's being held prisoner at Waksin Barracks. Find this engineer and get him out. Having him on our R&D team will go a long way to helping Diamond Dogs grow.
Roger.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. On station at LZ. Gaining altitude.
By connecting your iDroid to the onboard computer, you turn the chopper into your own Aerial Command Center, or ACC. Some elements of staff assignment and R&D of weapons and items can only be performed from there. Take as long as you need to consider all your options. Get him out. He tried to defect from the base camp up north, but it didn't work out. Now they're holding him at Bac Sin. He's offered his technical skills to us as long as we can guarantee his safety. You have to extract the target. Boss, your target just happens to be the man who developed your prosthetic hand. He's the only one capable of maintaining it. If we bring him in, I'm sure he'll be able to modify it in all kinds of ways as well.
Be careful down there, boss.
If we're going to expand Mother Base, we need more manpower. And not just for combat roles either. R&D, the support unit, intel, each demands a different set of skills. If we want to achieve what we've set out to do, Diamond Dogs has got to get stronger. There's a Soviet engineer I want to have join us. He was the one who built your prosthesis. With him on our side, who knows what sort of
Hey, boss. You seen many animals in the field? Truth is, an environmental NGO is in there. That's the Waksin barracks. The target is somewhere inside that outpost. The Soviets consider him a traitor now, so he'll be treated like any other prisoner. A Soviet soldier. A lot of them came from Central Asia before, but lately they've been using more and more Russians. Simple, really. There's less hesitation to pull the trigger if they're not fighting their own race. Morbid cynicism, but it gets results. That's humanity for you.
The Soviets have indicated they are not participating in the Los Angeles Olympics, primarily because the United States has made no attempt to guarantee the safety of the Soviet Union's athletes. The United States is increasingly demonstrating the belief that the issue has nothing to do with its preparations, and in fact this is retaliation for the Western nations' boycott of the previous Moscow Olympics. That concludes today's news.
That's quite some news. The Soviet Union not attending the LA Olympics? Yeah. Andropov's death has changed some things. They're calling it revenge for the Western boycott of the Moscow Olympics. Countries boycotted the Moscow Olympics? Yes. In protest of the Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan. Over 50 countries were absent. It's too bad I didn't get to see Yamashita's judo. When the 40th Army crossed the Amu River 4 years ago, détente went right out the window. The U.S. Congress chose not to ratify SALT II. And Reagan's hardline politics won in the presidency in a landslide. According to him, the Soviet Union's an evil empire. A second Cold War. And there's been no end to regional conflicts and civil wars. Lebanon, the Falklands, Grenada, Iran, Iraq. The story never changes. Egypt and Israel did sign a peace treaty. But then the driving force on the Egyptian
Great.
side...
I've updated the info on your iDroid. Take a look. I hope he's all right.
His actions were considered a betrayal of his fellow Arabs. Islamic extremists? Yes. Fundamentalist extremists have been responsible for some bold acts of terrorism in recent years. We've had extremist students in Iran take U.S. embassy workers hostage, and suicide bombings in Lebanon. Over 300 foreign soldiers stationed there have been killed.
Where are your friends?
The countries have yet to develop an effective means of dealing with terrorism. Afraid of losing their own men, they pulled their forces out, handing private forces a golden opportunity. Private forces. Small armies with no national affiliation, working for the highest bidder.
He's coming too.
That's right.
Roger that.
Idea from you. After Mother Base went down, they began spreading to meet the soaring demand. Miller's organization is just one of many PFs now. The entire world is after you. But at the same time, it needs you too. Miller told me about what happened in the Caribbean 9 years ago. You do remember Miller. You'd formed a private army with him. An army with no allegiance to a nation. I remember, but... I see. You're not sure what's fact and what's a fantasy caused by the coma. It's still all a mess, huh? All I can do is tell you the facts as they were told to me. I've gone easy on you up until now, but this is where the hard stuff begins. 1974, the year before you entered your coma. You were in Colombia, operating with a small unit of men, basically mercenaries. Miller was among them. Miller was trying to find a way to turn his and your talents into a line of work. He was looking to start a business where you would fight on behalf of others around the world, those who needed military force. But the reality was, at that time, you didn't have enough gear to equip your own men. Then Miller came across this client, It was a huge job he was offering, but you had a shot at pulling it off. You accepted it and headed into Costa Rica. The client even threw in an offshore facility in the Caribbean. The Mother Base. That would be your new base of operations. Miller sure did have a head for business. As your mission went on, your unit grew and grew. More weapons, more money. Before you knew it, you were commanding 300 men. As the organization got bigger, your military powers swelled to match. It got so the international community couldn't afford to ignore you. You were just too damn successful for your own good. You, your men, had worn out your welcome. Everyone was out for you. East, West, First World, Third. It was only a matter of time before someone took you down. And that was XOF. Officially, they're an anti-terror unit under the CIA. In reality, they're Cypher's private strike force. They lured you to Cuba using Chico, the Nicaraguan revolutionary kid, and Paz, a mole who worked for Cypher as bait. While you were gone, XOF, posing as a nuclear inspection team, stormed Mother Base. At the same time, C4 they placed on the strut legs went off. The whole thing went down in minutes. XOF. Kisses and hugs followed by a big F you. All because of Miller's blind spot. A back door into Mother Base.
You gonna extract him?
You remember a certain scientist. Huey was responsible for bringing the inspection team on board, giving the enemy a perfect opportunity to hit you at home. You were returning from Cuba when it happened. Mother Base came damn close to taking you with it into the Caribbean. Those of your men out on assignment returned right away. They refused to believe the wreckage in the water they found was Mother Base. But they checked the coordinates again and again, until reality finally settled in. You were supposed to die that day. That was XOF's primary objective. As far as most folks know, you did. The first doctor to see you wasn't even sure what he was looking at. Before they'd even finished operating, your men moved you to that hospital in Cyprus. It was a woman named Eva who arranged that. Rings a bell, huh? Most men in your condition would have been written off right from the start. But you survived. You went straight down to hell, and they pulled you out. Your eye wide open. Full of venom. The days of naked Snake are long gone. Welcome back, Venom Snake. This world still needs you. Here, Snake, try this on. A prosthetic arm. Yeah, Miller was calling it the arm that wasn't there. The physiotherapy's going well. Your arm's bulked up enough for it to fit. There. Perfect. A little time with it, and it'll work better than the real thing. What do you think?
Huh. I can still feel my real arm.
Well, you better get used to this one quick. You have any pain?
Every now and then.
Where?
My fingertips. My left fingertips.
Sounds like phantom pain. Your brain still remembers your old hand.
Yeah.
What about your vision? Can you see okay?
Yeah, at the moment.
Now, the shrapnel in your skull is pressing on your optic nerve. I'm told any hard impact could have an effect on your visual cortex.
Yeah, the doctor mentioned that.
Your brain might process visual information incorrectly. In other words, you could have hallucinations. You might see things that aren't there, and not see things as they really are. You experience any of that?
I think so.
When?
Right after I wake up. Colors look faded.
Colors, huh?
Black carrot. Something of an ancestor to the domestic carrot. It's also a favorite of wild animals.
You need to watch out for that.
I will.
All right. You should continue your physio. We'll be arriving soon. It's the last chance you'll get.
Всем боевым группам, это КП! Боевые посты! Всем за каждое движение. Конец связи.
Это Дмитрий-6. Враг ушел. Начинаю поиск. Прием.
Это КП. Понял. Не позволяйте им застать вас врасплох. Будьте начеку. Конец связи. Штаб. Это КП. По нам велся огонь.
Looks like the enemy's lost sight of you.
Мы потеряли врага.
They're gonna try to hunt you down.
Поблизости. Соблюдайте осторожность. Штаб. Это КП. Ответьте. Штаб. Ответьте. Штаб. Штаб, это КП! Штаб, прием!
Смотри сюда!
Я не хочу умирать! Ситуацию. Прием.
Talk.
Вы меня слышите? Прием.
Speak. Where are the
Всем
enemies?
боевым группам, это КП. У нас проблема. Тревога по всем постам. Штаб, это КП. По нам велся огонь. Открыли огонь в ответ, но потеряли врага. Враг может все еще прятаться поблизости. Соблюдайте осторожность. Штаб, это КП. Ответьте. Штаб, ответьте. Штаб, это КП. Штаб, прием.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. You gotta extract him.
Это КП, понял. Будьте начеку. Выгрузите врага. Конец связи.
Двигатель на меня! Двигайтесь! Обыскать все! Пошел!
это Дмитрий-4. Враг ушел.
Это командир. Внешняя радиосвязь вышла из строя. Мы не можем вызвать подкрепление своих аванпостов. Окопайтесь и удержите позиции своими силами. Конец связи.
Потерял противника. Ищу последней точки соприкосновения. Прием.
Это КП. Понял. Обследуйте сектор. Но осторожно. Конец связи.
Boss, leave the intel files till later. The enemy's on combat alert.
КП, это Дмитрий-6. Враг ушел. Начинаю поиск. Прием.
Это КП. Понял. Они не могли уйти далеко. Будьте бдительны. Конец связи. Штаб.
Osla, I hear they started calling you Shalashashka in Afghanistan. What's that about?
You know the term Sharashka? It's slang for a suspicious, hastily thrown together organization. The word became associated with a type of forced labor facility in the Soviet Gulag system. OKB scientists and engineers who'd been convicted of crimes were sent to a Sharashka for forced R&D. The Sharashkas were supervised by Lavrenti Beria of the NKVD, the secret police, under the official name 4th Special Department.
Forced research? That's not very different from what we do here.
Diamond Dogs is different. Everyone here believes in you. Regardless of where they came from or why they're here, they revere you. And they're fighting because it was their choice.
And if it wasn't, they'd leave?
Who knows? That's our reality here, whether it's real or not. If there's another truth, I don't want to know it. All that matters is that's the concept that's taken shape in their heads. The traces of a group ideology, our superstructure, to put it in Marxist terms.
All right. Go on.
Right. So anyway, at some point the enemies started calling me Sharashka. This was after the war in Afghanistan broke out. While I was keeping an eye on you in that hospital, I was also heading up interrogations here. The men I broke gave up their comrades and families, everything they wanted to protect them most. No real cause for it. I just let myself get caught up in the old Russian pride. And suddenly I received the honor of becoming Special Interrogation Advisor to the forced labor camps. But the more men I interrogated, the more people saw me as just that, the interrogator. It helped cover my real objective of keeping you safe.
You went that far for me?
Far enough to keep you alive. I ended up being pretty well known among the Afghan guerrillas. Some of them would have seen me on the battlefield, and that's how I got the second half of the... A type of saber from the Caucasus. Russian dragoons and Cossacks carried them into battle. Now, the Russian Empire had a general by the name of Fyodor Arturovich Keller. His bravery earned him the nickname Russia's Greatest Shashka. Someone must have known about that, because somewhere along the line, Shashka got stuck on the end of Sharashka. The guerrillas were using the name amongst themselves, and by the time I got to hearing about it, pronunciation had wound up as Shalashashka.
So, half Gulag, half Hero's sword. It was a perfect fit.
But you see how rumors and ideas about people can get out of hand fast. Once you create a character and put it out there in public mind, it warps and twists with every baseless rumor. And before you know it, all people see are phantoms. In my case, it works out just fine. I'm plenty used to working under aliases.
Intel file. Unfortunately, there's nothing new in it. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. He's coming too. Roger that.
So SALT II still hasn't gone into effect. That treaty was drawn up to limit not just the size of the U.S. and Soviet Union's nuclear arsenals, but also their delivery systems. Whole deal. All those years of negotiations have paid off. Somebody decides to invade Afghanistan. The timing couldn't have been worse. The president was in the middle of the SALT II talks back then.
You mean while you were busy trying to stop Peace Walker? I heard. President Ford was meeting with the General Secretary. In his
absence, the political brass in America detected what they didn't realize was false nuclear launch data from Peace Walker. They were on the verge of ordering a retaliatory nuclear strike.
Idea? Humans are incapable of destroying themselves. Turns out he never knew what humans are capable of.
If that AI, the boss, hadn't found a way to stop the fake data transmission, they probably would have gone ahead with the launch.
Deterrence was revealed as the pipe dream it was.
All thanks to you. And her. The U.S.-Soviet talks look set to fall.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
But in the end,
the time's to find the politics. When you grab their tail, they turn and bite your hand.
I first met you 20 years ago now. The place was Selenouyarsk in the Soviet Union. We were enemies. I was with the GRU. You were still fighting for America. 1964. Operation Snake Eater. Its objective? The assassination of the legendary soldier known as the Boss. When you returned home successful, they awarded you the title Big Boss. Your CO, Zero, sought to carry on the boss's will by covertly establishing his own organization. You knew the original members from Operation Snake Eater. From America, there was David O, whereas he was to you, Major Zero. Donald Anderson, a.k.a. Sigint. Dr. Clark, who went by paramedic during the operation. And the fourth, you. From China, there was Eva. And me, Ocelot, from the Soviet Union. 6 in total. To us, government notions of friend and foe were meaningless. As were East and West, we joined forces by our will alone. Our objective was to fulfill the boss's dying wish, to make the world one. And to do it, Zero used the Philosopher's Legacy, the secret war.
He's coming too. Roger that.
This organization would go on to become Cypher. I, on the other hand, was left with the problem. You only recovered half of the legacy. I had to locate the other half myself. When I found the funds, I passed them on to Zero, just as you...
You gotta extract him.
I still trusted him in those days.
We thought what he was doing was the boss's will, until he started that one project.
Les enfants terribles, Zero called it.
You parted ways, as did Eva, leaving only Anderson and Clark still with him. I maintained limited contact, although truth be told, we were just keeping tabs on one another. The reason was always you. After you returned to the Army and created Foxhound, you left America. For a time, even I'd lost track of you. I'd imagine Zero did too. You always were the best when it came to hide and seek. Zero created Cypher, an information network to tap into every corner of the globe. Woven together, Cypher's arteries make the world just one big organism. And that's not all. It also monitors the thorn in Zero's side. That's you, tracking your coordinates wherever you might go. The further you strayed from your roots, the larger Zero became. It's as if he was trying to close the gap between you. But before long, he disappeared from public life. Only a few people had direct contact with him. For a time, I was one of them. Then a year after you fell into your coma, he slipped out of sight entirely. Since then, nothing. No photos, no recordings, not even a reliable rumor as to his whereabouts. I tried every method I could think of, but Zero was gone. Freed of his control, his creation, his power continued to grow. Cypher is a great beast, and Zero was its spine. But even without him, it's endured, evolved. But now its body is rotting, riddled with parasites. Parasites like the ones who attacked you 9 years ago in the Caribbean, and then at the hospital. Cypher's Black Ops Unit, XOF. They learned where you were, and came to wipe the slate clean.
Понял.
It could be just what we need to develop new weapons and equipment.
Штаб, это КП. По нам велся огонь. Открыли огонь в ответ, но потеряли врага. Враг может все еще прятаться поблизости. Соблюдайте осторожность. Штаб, это КП. Ответьте. Штаб, ответьте. Штаб, это КП. Штаб, прием.
So your suppressor is worn out. That gun will be as loud as any other now. If you have to shoot, be careful. Boss, you've entered a building. Always keep an escape route in mind when you head indoors. If you get surrounded, you'll have nowhere to run. deployed their anti-air radar? It wasn't one of the targets, but that's put a hole in their air surveillance. The chopper will be able to get in close now. You can designate a landing zone near the outpost. Either destroy that, or turn it off to shut off all the lights and surveillance cameras in the outpost. But of course, the enemy will realize something's up. If you're gonna do it, be quick. Is that him? Take a good look at their faces so we can ID the targets. That's the target. Looks like we found him.
Я хочу домой. Домой. Я хочу домой. Домой. Что? Серьезно? Это протез. Я его сделал. Это мой шедевр. Обычные протезы — это скучно. Я специалист по бионике. Я создаю биомеханические виды. Можно сказать, что это не протез.
Target extraction confirmed. Your objective's complete. Exfiltrate out of the hot zone by chopper or on land.
Christmas Eve, 1979. The Soviet-friendly regime established the year before. The DRA forces could no longer contain it themselves, so the Soviets went in to intervene. The Afghan government was powerless and fraught with infighting. They lost the hearts and minds of the people, and that alarmed the Soviet leadership. With the Islamic Revolution happening in Iran, the Soviets felt they had to act fast or risk the spread of Islamic revivalism. A superpower, sending a motorized rifle division against men on horseback with antique rifles. Everyone thought it'd be over in an instant. Only it wasn't. Some Muslims made their fight a jihad, a holy war, and began a guerrilla campaign on all fronts. A war of attrition. These fighters call themselves Mujahideen. They're being supported by the West through Pakistan. That's why Miller was involved. He was training them near the Zero Line, sponsored by the CIA. The war has become a nightmare for the Soviet troops stationed here. They thought they'd be headed home in 6 months at the most. Then a year passed. 2 years. Now here we are 4 years on with no exit in sight. Afghanistan has become the Soviet Union's Vietnam. The Soviet troops on the ground want to go home, but at least they have homes to go back to. The Afghans have lost theirs. The Soviets destroyed down homes and fields, filling wells, turned pastures into minefields. It's created a mass of refugees who fled to Pakistan. If the Mujahideen this has had a big price. There's bitter resentment among the Afghans, and they're taking out their anger on the soldiers on the front lines.
Mission complete. I guess it all worked out in the end. The engineer we rescued has been extremely cooperative. The guys on the R&D team are glad to have him aboard. Thing is, his specialty isn't mechanics, but something called bionics, engineering based on biology. He's already submitted a proposal for modifying your prosthetic arm. If you're interested, go ahead and give the development order. Boss, as requested, we've added an analyzer function to your binoculars. Now you can view soldiers or POWs and get a readout on their rank or any special skills they might have. Depending on their skills, they may even be able to develop new types of weapons or items. Try it out the next time you're thinking of folding someone.
war. The Kremlin never expected to have this much trouble against the Mujahideen. Afghanistan is a tribal society. Tradition demands that its people stand up to any outsiders who set foot on their land. With the honor of their people at stake, they have everything to fight for. No matter how hard the Soviets hit them, they continue to appear out of nowhere, striking back, then vanishing again. But there's one thing even the Mujahideen fear. Every last one of them. The Soviet gunships. They're highly maneuverable and equipped with massive firepower. Plus, the underside of the fuselage is heavily armored. The Mujahideen can barely scratch them with their small arms. Anyone who hangs around gets mowed down by the gunship's heavy machine guns. This new honeybee weapon that was given to the Hamid fighters, it's no doubt something to help them strike back against the gunships, which makes it a weapon that could change the course of the war. Those guerrilla fighters known as Mujahideen don't actually belong to a single organization. Afghanistan is a multi-ethnic country. You've got the Pashtuns, the Tajiks, Uzbeks, Hazaras, and each of them is split into their own tribes, large and small. Each ethnicity has several rebel organizations that their various tribes gather under. They're united under the banner of jihad, but that doesn't mean they work like a single standing army. Just look at the area around Smasy Fort. A lot of Tajiks used to live there, but they fled after the Soviets started their Scorched Earth campaign. With the area uninhabited, the Hamid fighters, who are Pashtun, decided to move in. The Hamids are based out of the city of Peshawar. We passed through it on the western edge of Pakistan. The Pashtun people have long lived in Afghanistan and western Pakistan. They used to travel back and forth frequently. Then Britain went and established the border that still stands today. The Hamid fighters get generous support from the Pakistani government. The government wants to use them to secure influence over Afghanistan. Their liaison with the Hamids is Inter-Services Intelligence, and behind the ISI, you have the CIA. That's probably how the honeybee ended up in the hands of the Hamid men.
Thanks for that, boss. Boss. Boss, thanks for saving the puppy.
Spit it out.
Boss, let's develop something. Boss, will you train with me? Thanks for that, boss.
Roger.
What's up, boss?
Arriving shortly at LZ. This is Pequod. Have arrived at LZ. Will stand by.
Roger.
Let us know if you need supplies.
The pipes, huh? They're strong enough. Could make for a nice shortcut. Roger.
Snake, talk to me! Snake!
Welcome home, boss.
Roger.
Thanks for that, boss.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at